meeting room.
That'd be
Oh.
great. Noah, is that something that we have in the?
Yeah, I'll check that too. I was just wondering off the top
Okay.
if anybody's heads.
It's a Duluth or Northern Minnesota phone number.
Yeah,
Yeah, like Senator McEwen, maybe?
yeah. I'll double check our list, but yeah, I'll check that too.
Okay, and good morning, Representative.
Representative Lilly, nice to see you again, buddy.
Right, we're
Oh,
ready
he
to
disappeared. Oh, there he is.
go. Seconds died.
Lily is here.
Okay, I think we're.
Representative Lilly, nice to see you again, buddy.
We are ready.
Okay, we are ready to go. Chair Faber.
Morning.
Morning, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order of the Legislative Citizen Commission on Minnesota Resources on Monday, April 28th, 2025 at 9 a.m. sharp. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Minnesota Statute 13D.015, state entity meetings by telephone or interactive technology. Sorry, I'm waiting for my cuckoo clock there. As such, Statute 13D.015.
It's like, it's playing on a different window or
Yeah.
something.
Sorry, I'm waiting for my cuckoo clock. Sorry, you guys didn't hear me, did you?
No, can they hear?
Until
Chair
your
Faber,
cuckoo
can you hear
clocks.
us?
Yeah. All right.
Wait,
Should I start again? Or where are we
Dr.
at?
Faber, can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, we're having some feedback issues. It sounds like somebody maybe is playing the Zoom live on a different tab. So if you can just hang on for one moment while we try to
Okay.
figure this out.
That might be me. I was listening to the finance committee. They got environment up. I thought I shut it off. Paused it, but maybe it's still on. I'll check that out right now.
Okay, thank you. It's not on our computer. Not on.
I'm not connected.
Environment up. I thought I shut it off. Paused it, but maybe it's still on. I'll check that out right now.
I wonder if we need to,
Becca, this is Rita Albright. I'm just checking to see if you can hear me. I'm leaving my video off because I have a very unstable connection.
Okay, thank you, Rita. We can hear you.
Okay, I shut everything on my computer down. Is it still there?
Yes, the problem is still going on. Thank you, Senator Green. Let us
Okay,
just
I shut everything on my computer
think
down. Is it
for a
still there?
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What it.
Turn this on. Second, what's in the meeting?
I don't know. I don't. So you should be muted, Becca. But you may be.
Well, because I'm not signed into the audio.
Right. So probably not an issue. But
Okay.
I don't. It's not happening when we're talking.
No, it's not happening when we're talking. It's only happening when other members are talking. Well, do you think we can proceed and just ignore it?
I think if nobody else is hearing it, if it's just
Yeah.
us.
Is anybody else hearing an echo of our meeting? You are. I've seen Sydney Jordan nodding her head.
It seems to have stopped.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. Yeah,
All
we
right.
can hear a repeat of everything on a like 15-second delay.
I'm sure it's because I'm chair. You know that,
Yeah.
Becca.
It was the team.
Yeah, so
I
we
think
talk
I think it's
and
good
then
now.
it's done. It's
I think
good.
it's now. I think that TV was
Excellent. Okay. Okay, excellent. Let us
Can you
proceed.
hear him?
Yeah, let us
Yes.
proceed. It sounds like things are fixed.
So we're starting from the beginning?
Let's do that just to make sure everybody got all the messages they're supposed to.
All right. So I would like to call today's meeting of the Legislative Citizen Commission on Minnesota Resources to order this Monday, April 28th, 2025 at 9:05 a.m. This meeting is being held in accordance with Minnesota Statute 13D.015 state entity meetings by telephone or interactive technology. As such, all our votes will be taken by roll call, except for incidental motions like the minutes, which can be simple voice vote. Senator Herr, I did just see his name. It disappeared. Needs to be in committee this morning. Will likely be arriving late. So I'm the citizen vice chair. I was standing in for him. We have introduction of new members today and then two main orders of business on your the memo paperwork that hopefully all of you have gotten and looked at. Items 6 and 7 to complete an hour. So we're going to move through things efficiently, if that can be done with me as chair. If you have questions, please use the raise hand functions on Zoom and we'll call on you in the order received. We'll give everyone a chance to speak once if desired and more if time allows. Please speak through me, the chair, so we can maintain order and make sure only one person is speaking at a time. Okay, first item on our agenda, if you're following along, is roll call attendance. We will go through everyone in an alphabetic order. So the new members get a chance to find out who the old members are, like me, and we get to find out who the new members are. So let the recording reflect that Representative Fisher is joining from his office on the Capitol complex. Okay, Diana, roll call, please. Attendance.
Her. Her is excused. Faber.
Faber, present.
Faber present. Albrecht.
Albrecht present.
Albrecht present. Beeman.
Beeman present.
Beeman present. Fisher.
Fisher present.
Fisher present. Green.
Green present.
Green present. Hedstrom.
Hedstrom present.
Hedstrom present. Heinzman.
Heinzman present.
Heinzman present. Jordan.
Jordan present.
Jordan present. Langseth.
Langseth present.
Langseth present. Lily.
Lily present.
Lily present. McEwen.
McEwen present.
McEwen present. Moore.
More present.
Moore present. Putnam.
Present.
Putnam present. Reese.
Present.
Reese present. Scraba.
Present.
Scraba present. Westrom. Westrom is excused. Currently, there are 15 members present, 2 excused.
Which means we have a quorum, I guess I should add. So that's on the record. So thank you, everyone. We'll move down to approving the meeting minutes from December 11th, 2024. I need a motion from someone who was there. Don't be shy.
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Reese.
Yes.
Do we do a second then, Becca? No.
Second, no.
And then we can do voice vote, correct?
One,
So
yep,
all
okay.
those in favor of approving the December 11th, 2024 meeting minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting minutes are approved. Thank you, folks. Welcome new members. We'll just run around quickly, say your name and rank. I was joking with Becca, but I'll start, even though I'm not the first. But my name is Dr. Bill Faber. I am a citizen member. This is my 13th year. I think when Westrom comes, he's the only one that's been here longer. And I'm a wildlife biologist and an instructor of natural resources at Central Lakes College in Brainerd. Welcome all, everybody.
You want to direct who goes next, Dr. Faber?
Yeah, okay. Rita?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rita Albright. I'm live in Bemidji. I've just been appointed to my second 3-year term. I'm retired DNR Regional Director.
Representative Beeman?
Good morning. I'm Michelle Beeman. I was just appointed by the governor to my first term. I live in St. Paul. I am a retired environmental attorney, senior executive. My most recent position was as deputy commissioner at the Pollution Control Agency.
Okay, Representative Fisher?
Hi, good morning. Peter Fisher. I am co-chair of the House Environment Committee and one of the House appointees.
Senator Steve Green, our co-vice chair.
That's who I am, Senator Steve Green. My first term. That's about it, I guess.
I don't see Fawn. Representative Hedstrom.
Morning, everyone. Monica Hedstrom, resident of Monoman, Minnesota. And I work currently with the White Earth Natural Resources Division. So thank you.
Representative Heinzman.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Representative Heinzman. I represent the Brainerd Lakes area. I have forgotten how long I've been on the LCCMR. Close to 10 years. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Representative Sidney Jordan.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sydney Jordan. I represent Northeast Minneapolis and Southeast Como in the House. I'm obviously a House appointee. And this is my first time being on LCCMR. So hi, everyone.
Shona.
Good morning. My name is Shona Langseth. I am a House appointed citizen member. I think this is my 4th year of my first term. And I work in with Soil and Water Conservation District. I've been working with farmers on soil health practices for almost a decade now.
Representative Leon, buddy.
Morning. I'm a retread. I was on years ago and just excited to be back on. So good morning, everyone.
Senator McEwen.
Hi, everybody. I'm Senator Jen McEwen. I represent Duluth in the Minnesota State Senate, and I finished out Kelly Morrison's term before she left, and then now this will be my first term also. So I'm also quite new.
Thank you. Dr. Moore.
Thank you, Dr. Faber. My name's Seth Moore. This is my the beginning of my 4th year of my first term. I currently work as the director of the Grand Portage Natural Resources Department, have previously managed their environmental department as well.
Thanks, Seth. Senator Eric.
Hey, everybody. I'm Eric. First term, 2nd year. I represent St. Cloud, and I'm chair of the Ag Committee.
Thank you. Representative Scraba.
Hi, everyone. I'm Representative Scraba. I represent District 3A, the largest landmass district in the state, from Lake Superior to basically Lake of the Woods and down to Cook, Minnesota, Tower. It's a huge district. I represent a lot of natural resources stuff. I'm from Ely. This is my first term.
Thank you, Representative. Thank you, everyone. That because Senator Westrom is busy as well. So, thanks,
Mr.
everyone.
Chairman,
Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, I think you missed me.
Oh, I thought. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Reese. I checked you out before you actually spoke, buddy.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Not the first time. Thank you, everyone. Good morning. I'm Mike Reese. I'm a citizen member appointed by the Senate. I've been on for about 7 years now, I believe. Becca, you could correct that if that's not quite right. Maybe the 8th. But in any case, I'm also work for the University of Minnesota as Director of Operations at the West Central Research and Outreach Center at Morris, and also work in renewable energy research and farm the family farm nearby.
Sorry, Mike. Thank you. Now that's everyone. And a quick side note, so you folks that are new, it's always going to be a little goofier when this guy, me, is in charge here, just so you know. So this is par for the course. It only gets a little goofier. When crazies are running the crazy house, that's what happens. So thank you and welcome, everyone. It's a little light comic relief. All right. Next on the agenda, we've got Director's Report.
Sure, and maybe I could start out my director's report by just having staff go around and say our names too.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to say that. Thank you, Becca.
No worries. So I'm Becca Nash. How about we go to Mike next?
Hi, Mike Campana.
Diana Griffith.
Michael Varian.
And then we've got Noah Fribley.
Oh, hello, I'm here.
No, okay, there's no Fribley too. And then we also have 3 other staff who are not on the meeting today, and we are all happy to to see you and to meet the new members. This is, I think, the most new members that we've had, at least in my history.
Correct.
So it's great to meet you all, and thank you and thank all of our members for your service to our state's natural resources through serving on the LCCMR. I've gotten halfway through my orientation meetings with new members, so if I haven't had a one-on-one meeting with you yet, please expect a meeting request from me soon. We are getting ready to start our proposal review process that leads to recommendations that go before the 2026 legislature. And that is the bulk of the work that you as commission members will undertake, and you are obviously the key players in that process. Especially for new members, I want to mention that, of course, the other part of LCCMR's responsibility is oversight of the projects once they are funded. And in fact, this represents the bulk of the work that staff does. Every project that's funded has a detailed work plan and budget that you as the commission approve before the projects can start spending. Projects must then submit status updates every 6 months and a final report and accounting of spending once the project is complete. Staff are reviewing these status updates to ensure that projects are spending according to the approved work plan and budget. We review the final reports to ensure that outcomes are met and deliverables are provided. Of course, we strive to balance the administrative burden on grantees of this reporting with the obligation to the people of Minnesota to know how their funds are being used and that we are monitoring for waste, fraud, and abuse. We currently have about 500 projects in various stages of their lifespan that we are overseeing this way. As some of the veteran LCCMR members know, the commission took on some initiatives over the last couple of years, and we also saw a significant increase in the number and complexity of the projects that we fund. While that happened, we built up a bit of a backlog on some of the project oversight work. I've been updating the commission on the status of that work following hiring and approval of additional staff, and I'm happy to report today that we've essentially gotten caught up on the backlog, specifically final reports. And you'll see a list of those from 2023 and 2024 that are posted to the meeting page. And those show that nearly all of the 180 of those reports have been processed and approved. Several of them had issues that we needed the project managers to address. There are 2 final reports remaining to approve, and the issues on those have largely been addressed, and the revisions have been submitted to us in the last couple of weeks, and we should be able to get those reports approved shortly. As you are about to experience, though, we had a record number of proposals submitted in response to our 2026 RFP. We had an increase of 87% compared to last year. And so, as you can understand, that while we've gotten caught up on our backlog, we have an ever increasing amount of work ahead of us. So we'll have to continue to keep our finger on the pulse and make sure that as the workload and funding increases, so does our staff capacity, so that we can continue to provide the important oversight of these project funds, public funds, as well as provide timely and professional support to our grantees, our members, and the public. I mentioned the significant response to the RFP, and we'll get to talk more about this, but we were curious why there was such a significant increase, and we thought you might be too. So we asked the applicants, and we included a couple of the highlights to the responses in a handout under this agenda item on the meeting page. Couple reminders. One is there's an oath of office that citizen members, if you haven't already, you will receive a request from the Office of Secretary of State requesting you to complete this oath. Legislators will be receiving an email from us shortly, from LCCMR shortly, requesting you to complete that oath, specifically for serving on the LCCMR. So if you could fill those out and get those back to us as soon as possible, we'd appreciate that. Legislators need this, even if you've already, done your oath for service in the legislature. We need one specifically for the LCCMR. Another reminder is that expense reimbursements are due at the end of this week for citizen members, only citizen members right at this time while we are in the legislative session, since legislators are covered by their own reimbursement and per diem policies. Also, we put a survey together in lieu of agenda item 8 regarding site visits. So I want to just make sure that you look at the handout that we have posted for that agenda item, but Diana is going to send a survey to you all right now from our LCCMR email address. So if you can just respond to the survey, that would free up about 5 minutes on our agenda today. And then also just to let you know, we have Nobody requested to provide public testimony. And that is it for me, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Becca. Due to the need to move things along, Becca asked me to say if you've got any further questions, feel free to contact her after we get through this meeting, and she'd be happy to follow up and find the information or whatever it is you might be requesting. You can contact her by email or phone. A lot of questions. We can also make time at the next meeting for discussion. Okay, friends? Okay, now we're moving on to agenda item 5, which is reporting of any potential conflicts of interest regarding today's business. Becca, a couple of words, buddy.
Sure. So our practice is to have this as a standing agenda item at each meeting. LCCMR has its own conflict of interest policy in statute and in our operational procedures. It is different from that of the legislature, and of course, it's important that it is adhered to. We do have a mechanism for you to report conflicts as you are reviewing proposals, but sometimes agenda items are related to things outside of the proposal. So if you could just send me an email as soon as the conflict of interest is identified, that way we can make sure that it is managed. We also post any conflict of interest that are reported to us. We post them on the meeting page every meeting, and then also ask people to verbally declare their conflict of interest at the beginning of the meeting where business related to that item is occurring. So you do not have to report your conflict if there's not business related to it at the on the meeting. And so since we're not talking about any projects specifically, I don't anticipate anybody has any conflicts to report today unless anybody feels a burning desire to do so.
Are there any conflicts of interest that need to be reported one last time? I don't see any hands sticking up on the Zoom, so thank you for that. Just keep that in mind moving forward, friends. Okay, because we'll do this at every official meeting we have. Okay. All right, we're moving on to agenda item 6, which is the proposal evaluation / selection process for our LCCMR recommendations session for 2026. Becca's Director Nash will start, and then I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Campagna to fill in some blanks there. So, Becca.
Great. Okay, so you will soon be receiving your proposal evaluation materials, again, for the recommendations that will go before the legislature in 2026. Members have found that it's best to confirm elements of the decision-making process in advance before you receive those proposals. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We wanted to first give you an overview of the overall evaluation and recommendation process. And then we're going to talk through in more detail the first steps of the process and ask that you take 3 actions today. And there is a memo under this agenda item, agenda item 6 on the meeting page, and the memo includes proposed motions for your consideration. So I'm going to start out with the general overview, and then as the chair said, Mr. Campana will take us through some of the details and the actions needed. So following the close of the request for proposals and the receipt of proposals at a high level, the evaluation and recommendation process includes, firstly, staff reviewing the proposals for completeness and eligibility issues and evaluating all of the proposals according to the LCCMR's adopted evaluation criteria. Next, we provide those staff reviews to you along with the proposal and scoring materials. And then members individually evaluate all proposals, and we call this evaluation number 1. The commission then in a meeting uses those results to make the first cut in the proposals. Those that make the cut move on to present to the commission and receive further consideration. The ones that don't make the cut are no longer considered and they drop out. The members then hear presentations from the applicants and then individually submit a second evaluation, which we call evaluation number 2. The commission then again uses the results of that evaluation 2 in a meeting to make their recommendation to the legislature. And that is the second and final cut. One more step that's not mentioned in the memo is that those recommendations are then written up in a bill form, and the commission comes back to approve the recommendations in that format. And this is what is going to be happening for you starting from the end of this week all the way through December. So that's the overall process. 2 evaluations. They first start out with an individual evaluation. The individual allocations all get aggregated, and then the members together make a decision based on those allocations, on those evaluations. So Mike is now going to talk through the first few steps of the process and associated actions, and then the remaining part of the process and additional actions will be covered at our June 11th meeting. So, Mr. Chair, I'd like to hand it over to Assistant Director Mike Campana.
Thank you, Becca. Michael?
All right, thank you, Chair Faber. Hopefully all can hear me. So there are 3 actions staff are asking the members to consider today, and they're related to those first 4 steps that Becca just mentioned. So the first action is related to staff evaluation of proposals and the presentation of those results. The commission needs to confirm how it would like staff to present those results. So staff have typically presented the results of their evaluation as a score from 0 to 100. And that score shows up on the scoring sheet you use as part of your evaluation, and is intended as another data point to help members in their evaluation. So I'm going to quickly share my screen, both to remind returning members and also to give new members a chance to see what that might look like. So this is an example of the scoring sheet from last year. And what you can see here is there's this column, it's called staff score, and this is how we presented it to members. So this was a score from 0 to 100. So in evaluating the staff process and presentation of the results, staff would like members to consider another option for presenting these results rather than presenting the score from 0 to 100, presented in categories such as outstanding, very good. Looking at this example on your screen right now, you might see, if we were to do this year, you might see instead of scores of 89, 90, you might just see outstanding or category 1 for those results. For proposals like that are 75, 69, 71, 70, you might actually see all of those just in category 2, which would be a very good category. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what we're talking about here. Staff see 3 major advantages to doing this. First, staff believe the difference between proposals with similar scores, such as the 75, 71, 70, 69, is not significant and falls within the margin of error of the scoring process. And staff believe categories would alleviate this issue. Second, staff believe the categories may make it clear to members what staff's conclusions were regarding the quality and fit of the proposal. So instead of interpreting what a 71 means, there'd be a very simple, very good associated with it. And then finally, staff believe, especially with the number of proposals members are going to review, this also might be useful to members in terms of a more quick way to classify proposals together in their evaluation. That being said, the major drawback of categories would be that they would overemphasize the relative difference between proposals that fall near a breakpoint. So for example, the difference between the worst proposal in an outstanding category and the best proposal in a very good category may be real, but may not be as significant as the placement of the categories suggest. So that's all I'm going to say about this first action. So what staff are asking you today is to discuss and decide if you'd like us to continue to present our evaluation results as a score from 0 to 100, or to place proposals in categories based on the results of our evaluation.
That's good. Mr. Campagna? Does anybody have any questions? Because we're taking each action individually, as I'm hoping you understand. So we want to make a decision on this. Yeah, Mr. Reese, your hand is up.
Yep. Thank you, Ms. Chair. This has been a bit of a point of contention for me over the years. I think, and it causes confusion in proposers' eyes when they score high, but then from a staff standpoint, but then they don't get awarded funding. So I do like the categories, but I would actually prefer to narrow those down even further to meets criteria, minimally meets criteria, and does not meet criteria. Because the other concern I have is that we're providing the perception that staff are actually scoring and potentially injecting their biases in, or the way they believe that the award should be, or funding should be awarded, where that, in my opinion, that's the commission's duty to do that. So that would be my suggestion, is that we go with option number 2, and then we limit it to 3 categories. And then I would like to get a response from Becca or Mike regarding that, to see if there's any issues that they perceive in that process.
Thank you, Mr. Representative Beeman, your hand was next, and I'll call Representative Heinzman and then Shona. So Representative Beeman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just was more of a question since I'm new to this. To create those categories, would there still be a numerical ranking of some sort, and then the cutoffs just become behind the scenes cutoffs at certain numerical points, or is the numerical ranking completely gone then? I lost a little bit of the analysis there.
Mr. Campagna or Becca, what can you answer that for Representative Michelle?
Yes, Chair Faber and Commissioner Beeman. Yes, there is a numerical score still being done because staff had to start evaluating proposals as soon as we got them. We didn't know what decision the commission was going to make. We do have a system where we do have a numerical score, and we would translate that into categories if the commission chose to move in that direction.
Does that answer your question, Michelle?
Yes. Would those numbers be public? And I'm asking that because then I'm wondering, to the point of, if people are upset they didn't get picked for presentation, can they go back and ask to see what that number was? And then that lead to a debate about, the categorization. I don't know.
Sorry, Chair Faber, Commissioner Beeman. If you did go in the direction of categories, we wouldn't necessarily publish those, and the members wouldn't necessarily see the numeric one behind it. I will emphasize, as Commissioner Reese mentioned, these scores are really meant to just be another helpful data point for members. And in the end, it's the members who evaluate the proposals and decide which ones are worthy of moving forward and which ones are not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Michelle. Representative Heinzman, question?
No question. Just wanted to echo the comments of Commissioner Reese. I think that option 2 is a better alternative. I too worry about the perception that the commission is leaning too hard on the staff recommendations, and would like to avoid that concern as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Heinzman. Shona, your hand is up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would be okay with Commissioner Reese's suggestion. My one question is I haven't looked at the RFP for a little bit, but maybe Director Nash could just remind us, under the criteria, does that also look at an organization, if they've been working with LCCMR in the past, their ability to follow through on their obligations? That's the one thing that I really appreciate about staff taking into consideration, is just the follow through on the work that's being done, and then also any obligations around financial pieces. So just want to make sure that, I think that's the most critical point that staff can give input on, because we don't see the behind the scenes process that they're going through. So that's where I'd really want their input.
Thanks, Shona. Are there other questions? It would seem to me, from the 4 or 5 people that asked questions and so on, there's support for option 2, which is going away from our numerical and going to these categories. And that would be when I looked at this first and then was discussing chairing the meeting, that was also what I felt, that it would be better with this option 2, where we just had those, so that there wasn't such a distinction between anything in the 90s, and then in the 80s and 70s. So, but Dr. Moore, question, please.
Just a comment. I support both Commissioner Langseth and Commissioner Reese's recommendations. I do absolutely agree that having an understanding of how successful applicants have managed their LCCMR grants in the past is very, very helpful. I do think a categorical approach to evaluating the proposals by LCCMR staff is a good idea.
Thank you, Seth. Representative Fisher, your hand is up, and then we'll go to Michael Reese, and then we've got to move on, friends, because we've still got more business. So Representative Fisher, please, floor is yours.
Chair, the question I have is when, if we're using the categories like this, as we've talked about, there are some groups who have been here before and you'll have a reflection of that, but we may have new people out, new organizations that are applying that have not been part of the process before and have not been awarded. So how would that impact their capability in terms of the rating? Does that put them at a disadvantage?
Director Nash or Mr. Campagna, can you answer that, please?
Why don't I start and then Mike Campana can correct me if I'm saying anything wrong. Just to address some of the other questions too, that yes, it is past performance and capacity, as well as completeness of the proposal. These are all part of the evaluation criteria, and part of what staff is doing right now is we're kind of going through these proposals with a fine-tooth comb, and we're checking off every aspect of the proposal to see if they have submitted the required materials, et cetera. And so if not, our scores would reflect those incomplete aspects of the proposal, and they would also reflect any past performance. Unless Mike has another way of saying this, I would suggest that, you know, the proposal kind of speaks on its own. People are asked to provide information about their capacity to implement the project, past experience with grants of this size, past experience with the work that is being proposed. They're also, you know, submitting all sorts of financial capacity information that we're looking at in terms of audits, you know, financial statements, resolutions from their board. And so I think a proposal should be evaluated based on the information that they are presented. But in the case that we have had exceptionally good or maybe some problems with past experience with that project manager, for example, those would then be taken into consideration in terms of our final ranking or our final evaluation, so that you are getting the benefit of that knowledge and experience that we have with those specific situations.
Thanks,
Michael. Anything else, Mike, you want to add? Okay.
No? Mr. Reese,
no, just well, Mr. Chair, thank you. I have a question first for staff, and then I'll go to a motion. That's okay, Mr. Chair?
Yes, go ahead, Mike.
Director Nash and Mike, do you have any issues with going to 3 categories? And keep in mind, one thing that wasn't brought up is that there are opportunities for staff to include notes on these as well.
Becca or Michael?
Yes, so Chair Faber, Commissioner Reese, staff is fine with 3 categories if that's how the commission wants to move forward. You know, there's a balance between, if you have a lot of categories, you get sort of, they're finer gradations and differences. Less categories, you're going to get less of that gradation. But staff are happy to go whatever direction the commission wants to do.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In that case, I will move option 2, place proposals into 3 categories based on the results of staff proposal evaluation.
Further discussion? Wow. Oh, that's okay. So now, Commissioner Albright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I prefer the numerical scoring, but I'm willing to go to the categories of outstanding 6 categories on down. I'm not going to support just 3 categories because I think, to Mr. Campana's point, that just does not help the commission really do a good evaluation of the projects. Thank you.
So, okay. Becca, what is that? Shona, Commissioner Langseth.
Could I make a friendly amendment to the motion and say we go to 4 or 5?
4, I'll accept 4.
Okay, Commissioner Langseth or Commissioner Albright, if we go to 4 rather than 3 and we had 6, or are we gonna go to 4.5? Right, sorry, little comic relief. Is that acceptable, Rita or Langseth? I like the 4 idea of 4 for sure. I think 3 is too narrow. Is that accept? You said acceptable, Mike, amendment?
I'll accept 4 as a friendly amendment.
Commissioner Albright? You're muted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the challenge is when we have 400 projects to review, it is very, very helpful for members who maybe don't have expertise in every single kind of project that's coming our way, to have the input of staff who also, I might add, consult with peer reviewers, subject matter experts. And I think to Commissioner Shona's point earlier, the fact that staff also know the history of some organizations that have had projects in the past and their ability to complete them, their timeliness of reports, their overall, quality. I think having that input, especially when we have the number of projects that we do, is really important. And I would, we'll see where the motion lands, but I prefer the 6 categories, and that's how I'll be voting. Thank you.
Representative Heisman, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just responding to that comment, I would point out that the 4 brackets, I guess, as it's been described, I think that covers it. There definitely is a perception that sometimes this process is staff heavy, and Commissioner Albrecht, I get it, but the truth is that we have a tremendous resource in staff. We all recognize that, and we can reach out anytime we have questions. Putting all of that on the front side is, I think, what we're trying to avoid. And if there's information that's needed, I've never had any issue ever getting support from staff to fill in the blanks on projects and to go through the worksheet and the binder if there's ever anything that doesn't feel as though I'm getting the complete picture. So I'd recommend that to members, new and old, if they do have questions, that resource is there, and we would, I think, move forward with the motion as amended.
Thank you, Commissioner Heisman. Mr. Reese, and then Rita, then we've got to move to a vote.
Just one last comment.
No, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think you said myself first, right?
Yep.
Mr. Chair. Thank you. I just would like to say that this is, I think 4 categories is pretty balanced. You know, we have issues with people not understanding why they can score 80 and get 0 votes from members. And, you know, we can do this too fine. As was already reported, there's not a lot of difference between a 79 and a 71. If we get 6 categories or 10 categories, then we're in the same situation. So I would prefer if we could keep to 4 categories, and I think that will serve staff, and it'll serve commission, and also serve the proposers very well. Thank you, Ms. Chair.
Rita, one final comment or question?
Yes, thank you. Just a clarification. What are the 4 categories that are included in the motion? Because that's not clear to me what the motion actually is. Thank you.
Mr. Reese or Mr. Campagna, what would the 4 categories be then?
Well, Mr. Chair, I would recommend that we have an acceptable or meets criteria, minimally meets criteria, and maybe have a higher, have 3 in the meets criteria or acceptable range. 1 does not meet criteria, because we all know that there's proposals that simply just aren't ready. So we have that 1, And everyone can, when we see that, we understand that that's likely not going to be the one that's going to receive any votes. And I
Okay.
will let staff determine the appropriate language, high, medium, low acceptability, and then does not meet criteria.
Okay. So we have a motion as amended. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This is, you know, I like to think I know parliamentary procedure, Mr. Reese, so cut me a little slack, buddy. So we've got an amendment to the motion, which was 3 originally. Now it's at 4. So what, we have to vote on the amendment, or is this?
No, I've incorporated, thank you, Mr. Chair, I've incorporated the amendment, so it's in the main votes or main motion, so you do not have to vote on the amendment.
No, so we're voting on your motion as amended.
That's no, well, just vote on my motion because I've accepted it.
Amendment. Okay.
Yes,
All
thank
right.
you.
So is that clear to everyone? Okay, we do a roll call on this. So Diana, please.
Her. Her.
Hold on, I still abstain.
We'll come back to him. Let's circle back to him.
Faber.
Faber, aye.
Faber, yes. Albrecht.
No.
Albrecht, no. Beeman.
Beeman, yes.
Beeman, yes. Fisher.
Sure, yes.
Fisher, yes. Green.
Yes.
Green, yes. Hedstrom.
Yes.
Hedstrom, yes. Heinzman.
Yes.
Heinzman, yes. Jordan.
Jordan, yes.
Jordan, yes. Langseth.
Langseth, yes.
Langseth, yes. Lily.
Oh, yes.
Lily, yes. McEwen. McEwen. You're on mute.
Yes. McEwen, yes.
McEwen, yes. Thank you. Moore.
More yes.
Moore, yes. Putnam.
Yes.
Putnam, yes. Reese.
Yes.
Reese, yes. Scrabba.
Yes.
Scrabba, yes. Westrom is excused. Her.
Yes.
Her, yes. Currently, there are 15 yes, 1 no.
The motion carries. Thank you, friends. We need to move on to action item number 2, evaluation number 1, and selecting proposals for presentation on the first cut. Correct, Becca?
Yes.
Okay. We need to confirm or specify any modification to the following approach for evaluation number 1 and selection of proposals for presentation. Michael, I assume you're going to explain that a little more detail, please.
I will explain that in a little more detail, Chair Faber, and I'll try and go quickly.
Yep.
So as Becca mentioned, the Commission's found it helpful to make these decisions in advance before it starts its evaluation process. So this is sort of the process that staff recommended and mirrors the process that's been used in previous years. So members will receive proposals along with staff scores and comments. Members will then individually evaluate proposals and select the top 40% of proposals. That would be about 160 proposals in this case to move forward to presentation. Just to point out, this would be a slightly higher percentage than has been used in previous years. Staff would then compile those individual results and sort them from high to low in order of number of members selecting. So all the proposals selected by 17 members would be at the top, then 16 members, then 15 members moving down. So what staff would do is then going down that list, staff would insert a cutoff when the total requested amount exceeds 125% of the funds available. So that's about $129 million. So say if you got down to the group of 14, and that's when you got to $129 million, that's where the cutoff would happen. And we'd capture that entire group or none of that group, depending on which is closer to that $129 million, 125% point. All of those proposals above the cutoff would be invited for presentation. And then each group within the commission, the Senate, the House, and the citizens would then be able to agree in that group on 3 additional proposals that they would like to move forward to presentation, resulting in up to 9 additional proposals moving forward. Before members discuss this proposed process, I wanted to point out that in previous years, the cutoff was based on a set number of proposals. So for example, the cutoff was simply the top 91 proposals last year. Staff are recommending the modified cutoff based on a percentage of funding available because in previous years, based on the cutoff on a set number of proposals, it either resulted in the number of proposals moving forward that was exactly the same amount as the amount available for funding, leaving very few decisions to be made following evaluation number one, or not having enough proposals initially selected to move forward to presentation because more funds were available. So Chair Faber, that's sort of a basic background in action number 2.
Okay. Commissioner Albright, your hand is up. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to move, Member Albright moves to adopt the evaluation number 1 and presentation selection process as described in the staff memo because I think it's wise. Last year we ran short of proposals and we kind of scrambled to add some back. So this is a way to solve that issue, I think. Thank you.
So we have a motion on the floor to accept, which is basically, what we have been using, correct, Becca and Mike?
Yes, Chair Faber, the basic process is what you've been using. That's just slightly modified in terms of the number of proposals.
Yeah. With 400 proposals, if we ain't going to get there, friends, we're never going to get there, just so you keep that in mind. Commissioner Langseth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for clarity's sake, so we'd be looking to bring in 160 for presentations.
Chair Faber, Commissioner Langseth, we don't know exactly where that 125% cutoff would fall, but we do estimate it would probably be around 150 to 160, but it really depends on if the commission selects a lot of small projects, it could be bigger than that. If it selects a lot of projects that have bigger numbers, it could be less than that.
Okay. Any further questions? Which I think what has been the case, we've got more. Go ahead, Representative Heinzman.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm struggling with this. Maybe staff could explain further why this change has been suggested. There always seems to be less money than there is requests. Maybe I'm missing something. I'd be happy to better understand the real logic behind this.
Michael?
So Chair Faber, Commissioner Heinzman, the idea here is in the past, the only differences we're proposing right now is first that when members are selecting their individual proposals, they select a few more than they did in the past. In the past week, it was 33% or a third. So it was, in this case, we're taking 40%. So just individually, you get to select more that you think should move forward to presentation. The bigger piece is probably that second piece, which is what's going to be initially selected to move forward to presentation, agreed in advance. So in the past, the commission has just set a number. It said, like, we're going to go down to 91 of the top proposals, and those are the ones that are going to definitely go for presentation. And if we have to make any further decisions, we'll make decisions at that point. Staff has suggested this because 91 often didn't get us enough, or it got us right at the cusp. So you'd select 91 proposals, there was $103 million available, and 91 got us to $105 million. So there were very few decisions needed to be made after presentation. Also, what happened last year is you got to 91, and there was $103 million, and that only got you to $75 million, which left a lot more decisions to be made at the June 11th meeting. Staff have suggested this simply as maybe a way to streamline that a little bit more so it's easier for you to move forward, but it's really up to you where you want those cutoffs to be. That helps.
Mr. Chair.
Follow up. Yep. Senator Heinz or Representative Heinzman, excuse me.
Well, you might have had that right. We'll see how tomorrow goes. Just further trying to think of what the impact might be that we're maybe not considering. And were there any other alternatives that were suggested other than what we're currently discussing?
Mr. Campagna?
Chair Faber and Representative Heinzman, certainly you could do the process that you did in the previous year. So you could do the third, and you could just select how many you want to go down to, like by number proposal. That's certainly an option as well. That would be align exactly what was been done the last 3 years. But staff have suggested this as another option.
Okay. Commissioner Reese?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question. Are we still including number 5, that each member group will select 3 additional proposals? Is that still included in the current motion?
Michael?
Chair Faber, Commissioner Reese, yes, that is still in the current proposal.
Okay.
Follow up? Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would also like to support what Representative Heisman is saying, that the more proposals that we include, the less time essentially that all of us have to put into these proposals, and it waters down the process to some extent. So I know there's a balance there that we want to try to be as inclusive as possible to hear these good proposals, or proposals that may actually be better than what we think. At the same time, it does have a effect on all the commission members' ability to put quality time and effort into the selection. Thank you.
Commissioner Langseth, we've got to move on this, friends. It's 9:55 and we still got more business action to take care of. So we need to decide what we want to do and move on.
Well heard, Mr. Chair. I just want to maybe make a suggestion. I think with the volume of proposals that we have coming in, we're going to have to be a bit strategic in terms of our expertise in evaluation of the proposals, and then maybe splitting up presentation times. I don't know if it's possible if the staff could actually group presentations based on category. I think in the past, you guys have been more flexible in allowing the project proposers to find a time that works for them. But if we could have it based on like these 2 days are for water or energy, climate, whatever it may be, then I think we can divvy up our expertise a little bit better and make sure that we're sitting in on the project proposals that we have a better understanding of. That would just be my one suggestion if we go forward with the motion as is. Thanks.
Representative Heisman.
Members, I would just suggest that we tap the brakes on this. I think that we'd be better served if we were more deliberate in our selections, as I believe we should and have been in the past, prior to hearing so many projects. I do recall at the beginning of my service on the LCCMR, project presentations could go as long as a half an hour. And now we've got it to about 10 minutes. It's really hard to get the information in such a compressed timeline, and the desire to hear more projects, I get it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we are being as deliberate and thoughtful through that process as we otherwise could be, simply by applying this sort of accuracy by volume approach and hearing more and more and more, when maybe we could just narrow that as the initial processes allow us, and be as deliberate as we can in that initial decision making, rather than loading up our commission with up to 160 proposals. I don't think this serves the commission well. I'll be a no on this proposal. I would be in favor of our previous process. Thank you.
Commissioner Beaman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In order to understand how to vote, I need to understand better what happened in the past when you had the numerical cutoff for the number of proposals heard, and it was less than the total dollar amount available then to allocate. What happened at that later meeting then that you're trying to perhaps mitigate against with this motion?
Michael or Director Nash?
I could explain what happened last year. That's probably the best example. So last year, the decision was that the top 91 proposals would move forward to presentation, and then 9 extra would be chosen by the 3 different House, Senate, and citizen members of the commission. When we did that, what ended up happening is 91 only got us to $75 million of $103 million available. So at that point, at that meeting in June, the commission made a decision that actually each of those groups would select, I believe it was up to 7 or 8 additional proposals. So to get to above $103 million, each of the groups ended up being able to select more themselves to reach that number. Does that help?
So, and another way to say that is that the decision went, instead of being a result of the individual evaluations and just following the results of that, it kind of went off of that process. So away from that process.
Okay.
We have any other questions? Representative Heinzen.
Director, to that point, is this something that is a frequent issue? My recollection is that that was somewhat unusual, and we did have a remedy. It wasn't as though that, everything fell apart. We were able to make an adjustment. I get the idea and the motive behind the motion, but I don't think that we're in some kind of a crisis where we need to change the process. I think it would be fine if we continued to follow the previous process.
Thank you, Commissioner Heinzen. Yeah, we have a motion. We have some discussion, and there seems to be of those speaking that maybe we should just stick with the process that we had, but sorry, it was my cuckoo clock again. So then we need to decide. So Commissioner Albright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess part of the reason I supported this suggestion was that in the past, we have struggled as a commission because we always wanted to do more presentations than what our ranking sort of filtered out. And so it's refreshing to know that members are willing to limit the number of presentations and to do more work to help sort through the presentations prior to, or I should say, sort through the applications prior to presentation. So I'm not a big fan of doing 160 presentations. I'm with you all. We all have busy lives, and this is something we've committed to, but it is a challenging time to really go through all the presentations and hear them. So, I'm not opposed to doing the last process, but I thought this was an opportunity to get more people into the mix, more applications into the mix. Thank you. So if people want, I will withdraw that motion.
Let's hear what Commissioner Reese to say. Michael?
No. It's not important anymore that the motion is withdrawn. But I will say this and ask question to Director Nash, Mr. Chair. Do you need to have a motion then if we're going to go back to the old process?
Mr. Chair, members, I think it would be great to have a motion. I think there's still a question about, there were 2 aspects to the recommendation. One was about the percent of funds available, but the first one was about members individually selecting the top 40% of proposals to move forward as opposed to the top third. And would you want to go back exactly how we did it last year, or would you like to incorporate the change as identified in step 2?
Well, Mr. Chair, to follow up on that, and just to comment, I think part of the process in the past included the flexibility to add proposals as the majority desired. And I think that's also continues to be part of this process. So we're not saying that there wasn't desire to add presentations. That will continue as long as there's a majority of members willing to do that. I think that's still an option as well. So we're not that the third is a hard set number that the commission does still have the flexibility to change as we move forward. So yes, I see Director Nash is raising her hand. I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you, Director Nash.
Mr. Chair, just to clarify, the step 2 in this action number 2 is when members individually are evaluating. And previously we had asked individual members to select the top third, but this year we're proposing that you each select the top 40. And then it goes to the commission and you decide how many present. So just wondering if you wanted to consider that change for step 2.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I will move that if you're willing to accept that motion.
Commissioner Albright? Or did she withdraw? Where are we at with this now?
She withdrew her motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so you're making a motion.
I will move that members select their top 40%. And then they go to the commission.
Okay.
Is that correct? Mr. Chair, could we have Mike restate that motion just to make sure that we have the correct language there?
Michael Campagna.
Yes, Chair Faber. So the motion would be to let me just make sure I have the correct here. Motion would be the members would move to adopt the evaluation number 1 process with the 40%, top 40% of proposals moving forward to presentation. And members individually selecting the top 40% of proposals, and then otherwise following the process from the previous year. So that would be the top 91 would be the ones moving forward to presentation automatically, and then the commission 9 additional ones, and then the commission would have to make adjustments as needed. Is that clear?
Is that clear, members?
Yes.
Okay, then let's call the chair will call for a roll call vote. Diana?
Her.
Yes.
Her, yes. Faber.
Faber, yes.
Faber, yes. Albrecht.
Albright, yes.
Albrecht, yes. Beeman.
Beeman, yes.
Beeman, yes. Fisher.
Sure, yes.
Fisher, yes. Green.
Yes.
Green, yes. Hedstrom.
Hedstrom, yes.
Hedstrom, yes. Heinzman.
Yes.
Heinzman, yes. Jordan.
Jordan, yes.
Jordan, yes. Langseth.
Langseth, yes.
Langseth, yes. Lily.
Yes.
Lily, yes. McEwen.
Yes.
McEwen, yes. Moore.
More yes.
Moore, yes. Putnam. Putnam. Reese.
Yes.
Reese, yes. Scraba.
Scraba, yes.
Scraba, yes. Westrom is excused, and I'll go back to Putnam. Currently, there are 15 yes, 0 no.
You are on mute, Mr. Chair.
Sorry. Okay, we're on to item number 3, presentation format and timing. Sorry, Director Nash.
Mr. Chair, I'm just wondering, given the time, I don't know if people need to drop off. I'm wondering an option could be that we skip action 3 for now and just go straight to elections.
Yes.
Get those taken care of. Would that work if people are able to hang on for a couple more minutes?
We don't need to have the presentation stuff set yet. We need to get to where we know how many presentations and so on too, correct? And we need to have the elections done. Yeah.
Yep.
Do I have to make something special to say we're going to move on to the elections, which is the next agenda item?
Let's do that.
Okay.
Okay, and then I will just say there is a memo. There's a memo for you. LCCMR leadership structure is 6 executive committee members. It's made up of a chair and vice chair elected from each group, the Senate, the House, citizen group. Each one elects their own chair and vice chair, and then vice chairs for legislators need to be of opposite party or opposite party than the chairs. The terms of the chair positions are for 2 years. The chairs rotate chairing the meetings. The vice chairs serve as backup. And the executive committee is responsible for approving LCCMR's operational budget. There is a proxy voting is available for elections. I sent out a memo about that. I did receive one proxy designation by the time given. So I would propose that we start out with the Senate chair so they can show us the way, and then do the House chair and then citizen chair. And then we can start over with the vice chair. And I would say we start out with nominations, then close nominations, then a response from the nominee about whether they accept or not. If we have time for comments, they can provide some comments, and then we'll do a roll call where members indicate which member they are voting for.
Senator Her.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I nominate myself for the Senate Chair. I have been, do I need to say words, do I need to present anything or talk about it? Or should I just nominate myself and then be called on it to explain?
Yes, I think that would be best, Senator Her.
Go ahead, explaining.
No, just I'll ask if there are any other nominations from the floor. Are there any nominations for Senate Chair from the floor? One last time, are there any Senate nominations from the floor? Hearing none. Senator Her, are you willing to accept the nomination, your nomination of yourself? And if you'd like to say a couple of words.
Yes, I accept the nominate myself, and I ask members, and especially members in the Senate, to support me. I have signed up to be the chair last time, and was nominated, and it's a learning experience for me, and I felt that there's still more things to learn and more things to do, and being that I'm also a chair of the Environment Committee, being chair of the LCCMR will help me gauge better the link between LCCMR and the Environment Committee. So I appreciate my Senate colleague for giving me another chance chairing the LCCMR committee.
Thank you, Senator Her. Do I have any questions, or do we go, is this a roll call vote on this too, Director Nash?
This is,
Just
yep.
Senate members,
And
right?
just for Senate members, yep.
Okay, I don't see any hands, so Senate members, Diana will take a roll call vote.
Green. Her.
Yes. Her.
Her, yes. McEwen.
McEwen, yes.
McEwen, yes. Putnam.
Excuse.
Westrom is excused. Currently, there are 2 members that voted yes and 3 excused.
Director Nash, is that
Yep, that's
for
good.
like a good vote?
Majority, yep.
It is, okay. I wasn't sure if we had to have quorum for that, or it was just simple majority of those present. Okay, then we move on to the House. I would accept nominations from the House. Representative Fisher. Oh,
I'd like to nominate Representative Sidney Jordan.
Sidney Jordan. There, nice with a smile. That's good. Okay, Sidney Jordan has been nominated. Do we have any other nominations from the floor?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Representative Scraba.
I would nominate Josh Heinzman.
Representative Heinzman. Okay. Any other nominations from the floor? Do we have any other nominations from the floor? Any other nominations from the floor? There being none, we have 2 individuals, Representative Jordan and Representative Heinzman. Should I allow them to say something, Becca, or?
If they accept, just maybe they
Oh,
accept.
sorry, yes. Representative Jordan, do you accept your nomination?
I accept.
Thank you. Representative Heinzman?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I accept.
Okay, we have 2 members, Representative Jordan and Representative Heinzman. Should we go to a roll call vote, or, yeah?
Is that okay? Or does anybody want to? Yeah, we'll go to a vote.
We'll go to a vote, and then, so it'll be roll call, House members. So Diana, take the roll call vote.
Fisher.
Jordan.
For Jordan. Heinzman.
Heinzman, votes Heinzman.
Heinzman votes Heinzman. Jordan.
Jordan votes Jordan.
Lily.
Jordan.
Lily votes Jordan. Scraba.
Heinzman.
Scraba votes Heinzman. Currently, there are 3 for Jordan, 2 for Heinzman.
Perfect. So what does that mean? We have co-chairs?
No,
No.
you've got,
2.
Jordan received 3.
Huh?
Jordan received 3, Heinzman received 2.
Oh, I thought, no. Okay,
So Jordan prevails.
so Jordan prevails. Okay, so congratulations, Representative Jordan. You are the new House Chair. Thank you. Citizens, last but not least for Chair. Commissioner Langseth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to nominate Commissioner Rita Albrecht for citizen co-chair.
Commissioner Albright. Seth.
Thank you, Dr. Faber. I would like to nominate myself as citizen chair.
Okay. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Are there any other nominations from the floor? Finally, any other nominations from the floor? So we have 2 nominees. Representative Albright, do you accept your nomination?
Yes.
Rita accepts. Dr. Moore, do you accept your nomination?
I do.
Okay, we have 2 citizen members that are up for a vote. So again, it's just the citizen members that are voting. Diana, roll call vote, please.
Albrecht.
Albright votes Albright.
Albrecht for Albrecht. Beeman.
Albright.
Beeman votes for Albrecht. Faber.
Faber votes Albright.
Faber for Albrecht. Hedstrom.
Moore.
Hedstrom votes for Moore. Langseth.
Albrecht.
Langseth votes for Albrecht. Moore.
More votes for more.
Moore votes for Moore. Reese.
More.
Reese votes for Moore. Currently, there are 4 for Albrecht. Moore.
Congratulations, Commissioner Albright. You're the new chair. Okay.
Thank you.
Now we go to vice chair, correct?
Yes, for Senate.
Senate members, nominate your vice chair. Do I see any?
Mr. Chair, does the vice chair have to be present?
No, they don't have to be present, but they do need to be of the opposite party.
Okay. So I'd like to nominate Senator Green.
Senator Green.
Do we have any indication that Senator Green is willing to serve in that role?
That I don't know.
He did last year.
He did note that he had to leave, but he will catch up when he sees the minutes.
Okay, so maybe we should go ahead with that, and then if there's any change, we can change that at the next meeting.
Okay, so are there any other nominations for Senate Vice Chair? Any other nominations for Senate Vice Chair? Any other nominations for Senate Vice Chair? There being none, so Senator Green has been nominated as Vice Chair. So we take a roll call vote for the senators.
Yep.
Diana?
Green is excused. Her.
Green, yes.
Her, yes. McEwen.
McEwen, yes.
McEwen, yes. Putnam. And Westrom is excused. Currently, there are 2 yes, 0 no.
Congratulations, Senator Green. I'm sure he'll have a rousing speech in the next meeting. So Senator Green has been elected as vice chair. Representative Scraba, your hand is up. Is this for the House Vice Chair?
Correct.
Okay, do you have a nomination?
I would nominate Representative Heinzman.
Okay, Representative Heinzman, you've been nominated. Will you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Are there any other nominations from the floor? Any other nominations for House Vice Chair from the floor? One last time, any other nominations? Representative Josh Heinzman has been nominated as the Vice Chair for the House, so we'll take a roll call vote.
Fisher,
Fisher votes for Heinzman.
Fisher, yes. Heinzman,
Conference committee, but just know that I
Heinzman.
agree with
Votes
Chair
Heinzman.
nomination.
Heinz, yes. Jordan,
Jordan votes Heinzman.
Jordan, yes. Lily,
Lily votes Heitzman.
Lily, yes. Scraba,
Heinzman.
Scraba, yes. Currently, there are 5 yes, 0 no.
Congratulations, Representative Heinzman. You are now the Vice Chair for the House. Finally, we've got the citizens. Are there any nominations for Citizen Vice Chair?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Reese, your nomination?
I'll nominate Seth Moore for vice chair.
Seth Moore, will you accept that nomination?
I guess so.
Okay, I guess then you're nominated. So any other nominations from the floor? Any other nominations from the floor? Any other nominations from the floor? There being none, Seth Moore has been and accepted for the nomination of vice chair for the citizens. Roll call, please.
Albrecht,
Albright, yes.
Albrecht, yes. Beeman,
Yes.
Beeman, yes. Faber,
Faber votes Dr. Moore.
Faber, yes. Hedstrom,
Hedstrom, yes.
Hedstrom, yes. Langseth,
Langseth, yes.
Langseth, yes. Moore,
More yes.
Moore, yes. Reese,
Reese, yes.
Reese, yes. Currently, there are 7 yes, 0 no.
I would have said 6 and one that says, I guess so. Okay, it's for Dr. Moore. So Dr. Moore, you have been selected as elected as vice chair. Congratulations. Okay, thank you, everyone. Are we do anything more, Director Nash, or so everyone can blame me for the lengthy discussion, but hey, you know.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. We'll have the action number 3 at the next meeting. Just heads up, you'll be receiving your proposal packets soon. We're aiming for the end of this week. The books are in the mail tomorrow to citizen members. The due date for your proposal evaluations will be May 21st. This will all be written up in instructions for you. We've got 2 optional online system trainings coming up. It's the same training, it's just held on 2 different days. So come if you can. The link to join the Zoom meeting is in your calendar appointment. Oh, I'm sorry, your scores will be due May 29th. Not May 21st, but it'll be written up in instructions. The online system training, again, optional. It's being held Wednesday, May 7th at 3 p.m., Friday, May 9th at 9 a.m. And then our next LCCMR meeting is June 11th. And if you have any questions in the meantime, send them to me and we will help get you answers.
That good, Becca Nash?
That's great.
One last point, remember to please respond to the email that I think we've all received concerning the site visits, which is the other business that we put off like that. So make sure you get that vote, and especially the new members, so we can get that set up. We really like the site visits. So make sure you do that. Anything else, Director Nash?
No, thank you, everybody, for staying late here today. Appreciate it.
Thanks for your participation and engagement. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Good job, Chair.
Yes, nice job, Chair.
Oh, thank you. I'm not gonna go, you can't say I should go shave my head or something as a punishment, because I already did. So thank you all for participation. Look forward to working with all of you.
Dr. Bill, are we off